We got another cruise edition and ring season, baby. I am married to It's Miller time. Really should be It's Lee time, but we'll see what happens there. Anyway, what does week 14 have in store for us? Week 13. Week 13. Increase the drama exponentially. The drama is unreal. It's as a fantasy football fan, even though your team's on the borderline, this is kind of what you want to see, especially as a commissioner. Also, it can be a headache though, trying to figure out which team is properly seated. But at this point, I think we might just roll with what ESPN has. But if there's a team that has lost to a team twice and makes it over that team, then that's kind of not fair. And I'll probably try to fix that. Just a full warning if that happens. But yeah, it looks like there's I don't know how many of us are tied at 7-7. I think 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, half the league is at 7-7, which is insane. And all the 7-7s are actually in the playoffs, according to the ESPN, rankings, except for Amendola Oblongata. So he's the only one that is 7-7 that is not in there, but could very well change after week 14. So let's go and talk about week 13. Start off with the newlyweds. We'll talk about my Yerbertino first. She's asleep, so hopefully I won't wake her up, even though probably am. She probably is awake, but oops. She went on to face Amendola Oblongata, and she beat him 89.16 to 83.42. They both moved to 7-7. It was 61.46 to 65.12 before Sunday Night Football, and then on Monday Night Football it was 89 and that was in favor of Amendola Oblongata. I'll put it right up there. And before Monday Night Football, it was 89.16 Kelsey to 70.52 Ryan. So all Ryan needed was 19 points from D-Hop, and he could only corral 12.9. Some guys that helped Kelsey included Tyreek Hill. She has half the team half the team is the Bengals, and the other half is the Dolphins. And this time the Dolphins, I would have done it live if someone's sleeping. They ended up getting 27.7 points on Sunday Night Football, which is mostly led by Tyreek Hill. Let's see. For Amendola Oblongata, he had 5 players on bye, really 6, but both of his quarterbacks were on bye. So he was launch his drop Rodgers because he's kind of been scrubbed this year. And he ended up going with Tyler Huntley, the quarterback for the Ravens. He didn't do too well. But the thing that killed him, same thing that happened to Jay last week. He picked up the Titans defense and he got denied. -6 points. What does Ryan lose by? Ryan loses by 5.78 points or something like that. Something crazy. So gosh, that is so tough. Another week, another bad beat. Also, I have to do my notes on my phone. I love writing it down. So, just little things. Didn't have a pen, didn't have any paper. Oh well. First world problems on a cruise, and All right. Well, let's go to the other half of the newlyweds. CDs against Show Me Your TDs. And Show Me Your TDs, well, he did just that. Show me his TDs faux show. He wins 142.08 to 121.68. Now, I think it was at one point he had 125, and I think only had like 30 or something. His 1 o'clock games were the majority of his team, and he was just kicking my ass. And then at one point, I think it was his 142 to like 50 something. And I had Eckler and Herbert, and then the Pats defense. So I'm like, all right, I need Eckler and Herbert to get like 30, and I need Pats defense to give me like 20. And fortunately came up short. Herbert and Eckler had decent games. Eckler had 24. The Pats defense had 19. So I do lose by about 21. Let's see. For Jay, he had 5 players, 15 or more points. It's tough to beat someone when they score 142. Chiefs defense let him down last week, but this time they got him 15 points. Speaking of players that let me down, I was so strong in running backs like the majority of the year, but after making some trades, having some injuries, I'm only down to Eckler, Cordell Patterson, and I think that's it. So I had to go pick up a running back. I ended up picking up James Cook. I wanted Zonovan Knight, but somebody, Strangler, was ahead of me in the waiver wire and picked him up. He ended up scoring 15 points. Wouldn't matter with my case, just would have made it a little bit closer. Anyway, James Cook, actually, Dalvin Cook's younger brother, only scored me 2.5 points, and CeeDee Lamb only scored me 8.3. So they kind of let me down there, but is what it is. I joined the 7-7 club. I'm honored. And Jay goes 6-8. So Jay was one of 2 teams that needed to win this week and then to win this coming week to keep his season in hopes and alive for the playoffs. And he got his first win here. Now, let's see if the other guy who's sitting at 5-8, let's see if he could follow up and do the same. And that would be the Scranton Stranglers. The Scranton Stranglers. Man, and did he? Oh my goodness. Scored the most points in week 13. Scored the most points. He scores 151.76. Decimal didn't matter, wasn't that close. He goes on to beat me and my homies. Big win. Big win for Scranton Stranglers. 2 in a row. After losing 5 in a row, his season is still alive. Jerick McKinnon. 32 points. Jerick McKinnon's been kind of tossed around the past couple weeks. I had him on my bench for a little while. I think actually Bryce had him on his bench, dropped him. I picked him up, had him on my bench for a couple weeks, dropped him. Then I think Kendra picked him up for like maybe a day. I don't think she even had him like a whole week. Like I literally think I just dropped him like not too long ago. She drops him, and then as soon as she dropped him, Tanner picked him up like not too long after she dropped him, and then he goes on to score 32 points. I cannot believe that. That is just, you just never know. And then of course, like I said, Zonovan Knight scored 15 points. He had 7 players with 14 or more points, including those 2, obviously. So he is 6-8. The 2 teams are 5-8 that needed to win, ended up winning to make things even crazier. For me and my homies, Jamar, huge game, so I know he is very glad he's back. He had 6 players with 12 or more points. 126, I mean, that's a solid number, It's just Jesse had a great week, but Tanner just had a greater week. So 6-8. So if the 7-7s lose this coming up week, the 6-8s could rise. So just saying, that's the importance there. It looks like Kendra may have locked up the number 1 seed. She goes on to be in it to a win at 127-112. Evan Ingram, 39 points? Excuse me? 162 receiving yards? Evan Ingram? Dude, you never know who's going to pop off in fantasy. Week by week, you never know who's going to be. Never know. Big win for Kendra. She pretty much wraps up the 1 seed. We'll get to who's in second place. Well, I'll go and say. She's 10-4 now. She's won 5 in a row, by the way. She also had 4 buys and 2 players out. 2 players out and 4 buys. She goes on. That's just been doing it all season. Kendra's been doing it all season. For in it to win it. Pollard and Jacobs continue to roll. Pollard at 19, Jacobs at 22. Um, he had 90.7 points before Sunday Night Football. He needed 36.3 from Tua and Josh Palmer. And unfortunately, Tua and Josh Palmer only combined for 21.9. It was a possible comeback there, but definitely would have been a little tough. So as for the seeding, looks like Kendra probably has locked up. Well, actually, not probably. She is definitely locked up number 1 seed. She owns a head-to-head matchup against Trey. She beat him earlier in the year. So if she loses this coming week and Trey wins, they'll both be 10-5. However, Kendra beat Trey, but Trey has scored more points, so ESPN might try to rank Trey a little higher, but the head-to-head, in my opinion, should weigh a little bit more. So I'll give the Kendra. I'll fix that if, ESPN messes that up. But if you don't think that's right, voice your opinion in the Facebook message. Speaking of Trey, he goes on to win as well. 109.42 to 83.06 against just Joshua. Trevor Lawrence, just talking about his teammate Evan Ingram. His favorite target last week. So if Ingram scoring 39 points, and of course Trevor Lawrence, could have a big game. He scores 33 points. CMC had 29 points. Sometimes Trey was starting the wrong quarterback. He had Jared Goff and Trevor Lawrence for a while, and it would always seem that he would start the wrong quarterback, but the bench would score higher than when he started. But he made the right decision this time because Derek Carr, his backup that he had on the bench, 2.58 points. So great job, Trey. Great job. As for just Joshua, he only had 3 players with 10 or more points. The rest of them did not score above 9 points. So a tough scoring week for just Joshua. He moves to 7-7. Welcome to the 7-7 club. Happy to have you. All right. So there were 4 7-6 teams. They all lost. All of the 7-6 teams lost to make it 7-7, and then all the 6-7 teams won. And last but not least, did I talk about Bryce winning? Bryce, I somehow did not put your score in my notes, but Bryce won too. He beat Molly, I'm pretty sure. So, is that what happened? Yeah, it's what happened. I don't know why I didn't write it down, but yeah, him and Molly are the only 2 teams that I didn't see on here. So to be sure, had to play each other in week 13, and obviously Bryce won. So we have a 6-way tie, as I mentioned earlier. 6-way tie for 7-7. That is just bonkers. And then 2 teams that are 6-8 that could very well take one of the 7-7 spots. So we'll go and jump to see who's playing each other with this, because this is just so interesting. I just cannot believe it's coming down to this. Like, that is just so wild. I know y'all are glad that it got expanded from 4 teams to 8 teams. Got doubled, which I know we added 2 more teams this year, but still, just makes things a lot easier. So going into week 15, only 2 of the 7-7 teams face each other. And it's Hurt So Good versus In It to Win It. And Hurt So Good actually won in week 4 when they faced each other earlier. So, will he win again? Or will Randy get the last laugh? That's definitely easily matchup of the week. Now we'll go chronologically. Team Horned Up is going to face off against me, unfortunately. And however, I am projected to win by 10 points. By 8 points. But Kendra did beat me in week 4. So hopefully it is I who will also get the last laugh. We're going to go to number 2, Team Hill and the Scranton Stranglers. The 2 businessmen. Did a lot of trades, did a lot of this online. Hill's projected to win 122 to 117. And Hill actually won in week 4. All right. Then we have me and my homies against It's Miller Time, the Sleepyhead. It's Miller Time won the last time they faced each other in week 4. However, me and my homies projected to win by about 8 points. And me and my homies technically is in, but if he goes to 8-7, no, he's technically in because there's no way all these 7-7 teams will go 8-7. And then if he goes 8-7, there's no way. So Jesse, you made the playoffs. Great job. Then we have the 8 seed just joshing you against the 12 seed Slim Pickens, and Slim Pickens won in week 4 and is projected to win again. So we'll just josh you. Will he get the last laugh? Got a lot of last laughs here. All right, and last but not least, we have the 9 seed Amendola Oblongata facing off against Show Me Your TDs. And Show Me Your TDs projected to win 125 to 108. But Amendola Oblongata got the win in week 4. A lot of splits could happen here. All right. I will say a kind of bad thing for Tanner is that I believe Show Me Your TDs has actually beaten him twice. Actually, Show Me Your TDs has only beaten Scranton Sterners once, but if they both win, the J gets that tiebreaker. So I tried to figure out the best head-to-head rankings because right now it's pretty easy that Kendra's first, Trey's second, me and my homies is third, Jesse. And then honestly, in like head-to-head matchups, I do have Bryce Hurt So Good fourth, which is what ESPN has too. But then it's just hard to figure out like the rest of the head-to-head rankings. Now, I'm not saying head-to-head as in strength of schedule. I'm saying head-to-head as in all the other people that are tied at 7-7. So if you're tied at 7-7, I went in like I made a list of like who you've beaten that was also 7-7 and who you've lost to that's also 7-7. And I got this Charlie Day meme from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I mean, that's exactly how I felt when I was trying to decipher this. So I really kind of lean towards just ESPN making it right. But I know that, let's say for instance, I know Kelsey has beaten Randy twice. And then if somehow they put Randy as the 8 seed and then Kelsey's the 9 seed, like Kelsey misses it, but she's beaten Randy twice. And it's like, that's kind of not fair. But I don't know. I just hope that there's not like too much of a tie up. But I want to go ahead and let y'all know now so we can vote on it. And then, when this week is over with and there's no discrepancy. So also I do want to say there's one game Thursday, Seahawks and 49ers. But then there's also 3 games Saturday. I don't know who's all playing Saturday. I forgot. I think the Ravens, the Browns. I think the Chargers and some other team play. But yeah, there's 3 games Saturday, and then the rest are Sunday. And I think there's probably a Monday game too. So do not forget that we have some Saturday games. I'll put in the message as well. So, but 20-minute video. I did good. Well, the intro and everything is probably gonna make it over 20 minutes. But anyway, sorry I didn't post week 13 because your boy was getting married. I recorded it. I've got it about halfway edited. So I don't know if I end up posting or not. Probably not because it's already done for. So, but I don't think there's anything like too exciting. So, oh well. It's kind of funny if I do skip week 13 because 13 is like my favorite number, but that's not really too relevant. But on this cruise, there's not a 13th floor. Like it just goes from 12 to 14. So it'd be like kind of like in our fantasy league, my recap videos. I've kind of skipped 13. Oh, my was waking up. She agrees. Well, guys, hopefully I'll be able to post this before Thursday. But the internet here is kind of some cheeks. I should have done it today while we were in Puerto Rico. But, oh well. All right, guys. Take it easy. Good luck. This is the most exciting week so far in fantasy. I just cannot wait to see what happens. I hope I make it. But if I don't, then I'll be very excited for you all that make it and see what happens in the playoffs. Ciao. Or adios, because, Try to be, culturally correct.